What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. I am Mel, and joining me as always is Ronnie, Big Smooth Hannigan. Smooth, what's up, man?
Not a whole lot, Mel. Great weekend. You know what I'm saying? My son, he turned 7 today, so happy birthday to him.
Oh, yeah, shout out
We've
to the
been,
birthday boy.
yeah, man, it's been cool. Firstborn getting a little older, so it's been cool hanging out with him. We had a little X-Men day, which is why I got the shirt,
Oh,
but if I'm
lucky
gonna wear
jerk.
Wolverine, I gotta wear the classic, not the, Michigan version. So I was like, let me go ahead and
You
go with the
know what?
old school
You
Wolverine,
know
not the
what?
Michigan colors, but the
I
old school
never,
Wolverine.
I never paid attention to that. I never
Oh, my
paid
wife ain't
attention to
having
that.
it. Oh, my OSU alum wife is not having that in her
I
house.
never, I never
Okay,
paid, I never paid attention to. I never paid attention to the fact he's wearing Michigan colors.
the exact maze and everything. They put a more emphasis on the
Wow,
maze part, but it's blue and yeah, it's blue and maze, man. Yeah,
wow.
man. So she like, no, we ain't doing that one. We ain't doing it. I said,
Oh,
great.
oh, while I got you for a minute, while I'm thinking about this, I came
Hmm.
across something as we was handling some business Friday.
Yeah.
I came across something.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I know
Yes,
we in
sir.
there.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
we in
we
there.
in there.
We in there. They spelled my name wrong and everything, man.
They probably jacked me up too then if they spelled you wrong.
I actually
No,
no, I don't, no, they
they,
didn't jack you up too bad. I don't. Did you wear number 70 in school?
yeah, I wore 70, and then there was one year where I had to wear 68. That's when I got hurt, and they had to cut the jersey down the middle. And I got
Ah,
another one the next year. So
yeah,
yeah, I wore
because I'm
70 the
looking
whole
at it.
time.
I'm looking at it. Here we are. Here we are right here.
Oh, that picture. Oh man. Wow. On the steps at the school, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, figure. Cause
Man.
my mom had threw my copy away, and I was
Hmm.
like, damn, cause I had been looking for it, and I'm like, man, come on, like not. Then I had to. Well, we was handling while we were handling business Friday. I
Yeah.
snuck and asked. I snuck and asked if I could get a copy, and
Hmm.
just off of luck, I got a copy. So
Man, that's
this is one of the
crazy.
last ones.
That's a blast from the 20 years ago, man. That's crazy to even think
Almost,
that,
yeah.
man. Shoot, I'll tell you real quick. I
Actually,
remember
yeah, that
being on
was
the
20 years
steps.
ago.
Yeah, man. Like I remember being on them steps and being out there, like, cause I hate photos. Like, altogether. Anybody that know me know I hate taking a picture. Don't like being in them. If I don't smile, it's because A, I don't want to be in it, and B, I don't think I'm photogenic. So it's all
Nobody
bad.
is.
But
No
my thing
football
is,
player
man.
is.
Oh no, you're not supposed to be, man. It ain't about that. So I'm out there like, when we gonna be done with this, man? And I was getting mad at some of the other folks on the team because they was clowning around. I said, well, the longer y'all clown around, the longer we out here. The longer we out here, the more irritated I'm gonna get, and I'm gonna see you at practice. That's how that went down. So I was like, all right, we got to get going. You know what I'm saying? But I
You
remember that
always got to
time, like
threaten
thinking,
somebody, man. Y'all
man,
guys,
they was just, bro, they ain't look. They weren't hearing it at first, man. I said, okay, all right, we be out here. You know, damn, that's the comment.
man.
That's
Yeah,
messed
yeah.
up. That's messed
It's
up,
messed up. It's messed up, but it wasn't necessarily like that, to be honest.
man.
We was young. We was young. That's all
Yeah,
it
that was
was.
that
We
was
was young.
youth. That was all youth because we was not eating right. I can tell you that. Oh man, that diet was terrible. Only thing I
Oh
didn't
man,
do was
wasn't
drink
it?
pop during the season, but I was drinking everything else, eating everything else. Be a whole stomach full of grease at 2 a days,
Right,
and be fine the next day. Don't even throw up. I don't know what,
right.
bro. I can't even do that
It was
now
terrible.
by just
It
going to
was
work.
terrible. Man, I look at Oreos and blow up.
Oh god, don't even get me started, man. I got some upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Trying to stay away from them.
Right.
Be jacked up.
All right. While we're here, we got not a lot to talk about, but we do have some things to, address as far as sports is concerned. First off, in the world of soccer, England falls to
Mm.
Italy. in penalty shots, one to I don't know how many. What is it? Let me check. Let me check. I know it was penalty kicks in final time or past final time, and this is the final in the Euro League.
Yep.
So, what? All right, come on,
It was
ESPN, don't do me
1-1, but
like that.
3-2 penalties, man.
3-2. Okay, because I was looking for
Yeah.
the score. Okay, so 3-2.
Uh,
Italy pulls it out. England is still looking for that signature win.
I'll
What's
be
going
honest,
on?
man. Here's my thoughts on that, because this is probably the most efficient game they've played so far this year, because that was them last week with the own goal. Because
Yeah,
when them
yeah.
own goals happen, you're like your whole demeanor. You're like, I've been out here for like 90 minutes, and when ain't
And the
nothing
crazy part,
dropping, and that happens, you're
and the
just like,
and the crazy
we need
part
to get
about that was it was off of a simple pass.
exactly. It wasn't even like the goalie like did anything to mishandle the ball or nothing like that. It was like literally just a bad pass, and then you're not thinking about it. Like as a goalie, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna protect my goal obviously from the other team. And consciously, sometimes you're looking for the own goal, sometimes you're not. But if it's your own teammate that you've trusted for God knows how long, why would you think to turn around at that moment to do anything about it? It's my team, and no one else is around them. That's a threat. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting my reflexes ready for the next thing. You know what I'm saying? That was it. I'm like, oh, when that own goal happened, it just sucks the life out of you. It sucks the life out of you, man. It's a lot of
Yeah,
work to get them goals, man.
that was crazy. So
You know what I'm saying?
that's what happened. That's what happened with that. And as much as because we all know soccer is getting geared up for the Olympics and everything. And
True.
I wanna be that guy who's hopeful for the teams that normally don't get in
Hmm.
and normally don't have a good showing. But if England's gonna play lazy like this, I don't know if they got a good shot coming up. Like
Yeah, man.
I'm really trying to be positive about it, but the way your performance in the Euro League tournament, the way you looked in the tournament, you give up an own goal, you sit there and you let teams that you normally would have dominated over, traditionally like Spain and Portugal, you let them hang in, even though Portugal is a force to be reckoned with.
True.
You're supposed to have the best team in the Euro League this year, and you let them hang around. You let them put up a fight. I don't know if you're gonna
Hmm.
have a good showing in the Olympics. Dare I say the World Cup if you don't get it together ASAP.
Right. And part of that's overconfidence. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, like you said, they were slated to have the best team. They knew it. We all knew it, for those that do follow the sport. And it was just like, okay, we don't expect them to come in like blowing people out 4-1, 4-0, stuff like that. But, what we're seeing right now, I can't say that was to be expected. When that own goal happened last time, I was like, okay, maybe I got my hopes up a little high here, and I need to just kind of bring it down a little bit and just watch the next game and see what transpires over this next one that they have. Because it's like you're seeing something different every match, So the part where like, okay, they're going back and forth, it's 1-1, like that's what we expect to see, right? The own goals we don't expect, and then when it came to penalty time, it's like, okay, that kind of separates it a little bit there, because Italy does have some decent striking, right? But at the same time, man, I don't know. It's just like going forward, we'll kind of see how that develops or what goes on in the Olympics. But man, I can tell you for a fact, I'm looking at it differently now. Now I'm like, they're not even the favorite to me anymore. I don't know. If they
And
keep playing like
I
this,
never, truthfully, I never had them as the favorite. I actually gave that to the U.S. men's soccer team because they've been on a tear lately. They've been on a tear, and what we do know for the U.S. men's team is that this is the youngest team that they've ever had.
ever.
This
Yep.
is arguably one of the most sound teams attacking and defending,
Hmm.
and they have shown they can blow you out when they need to, and they can pull out a game if they need to. So I gave the edge to the U.S. over England. I know that's
Right.
crazy to say. I know it's crazy to say because it sounds crazy to me just saying it, but they look good. Not only do they look good, speaking of which, we'll go over to the Copa America tournament,
Hmm.
and Argentina is looking damn good as well.
Oh yeah.
Beating rival Messi finally gets that signature win in the Copa America tournament. Uh, beating rival Argentina beat rival Brazil 1-0 in final time, and Messi finally got that signature win. Congrats to him. And now you're looking at what could be one of the most dangerous teams in the Olympics and maybe the World Cup.
Very true. And in going a little bit deeper into that story, the coach was saying basically that Messi actually was playing with an injury. So with this, they were like, well, he's the captain. We definitely need him out there for support. And he knew, like, okay, this is my shot to be able to do something different or to be able to achieve something that happened yet. And the thing is, when you're not fully fit, for those of you that don't know what that means, if you're not 100% or able to go in the soccer field, okay, you're not fully fit. You're sitting here like, okay, maybe I can go, maybe I can, maybe this is kind of lingering a little bit, slowing me down. Maybe my legs aren't exactly 100% either. Maybe I get 45 minutes in, or barely 20 or 30 minutes in, whatever. Because I mean, he's 34 years old. You
Right.
know what I mean? So the thing is with him, he initially was frustrated, back in 2016. Back then, they said he was basically trying to retire from it. Like he was just like fed
Mm-hmm.
up, like I can't do this. And Chile just did him in. You know what I'm saying? But to have this happen, like it's just redemption for him. It feels good. I know he's great. And like I was saying to you, off show, I still feel like if they were to get gold this year, then this may be his last time internationally playing. Because why not go on top in the
Yeah.
international circuit like
Yeah.
that? Of course, you got like World Cup stuff like that, but by the time
But
that
that
happens again, I mean,
you're gonna be old. You're gonna
you're
be
gonna be like
old by
37 years
then.
old. Yeah, it's like, would you still? I don't know. Maybe,
I
maybe not.
mean,
But at that
I
level,
don't
man, okay,
I don't doubt that he would
you're right
like everybody wants to go out on top. I don't doubt
for
that.
sure.
But if you go out, you already got one in the off the bucket list, which is you won the Euro League. So
True.
that was important. You've been chasing that for years. You finally got it. Now World Cup or World Cup or Olympic gold, that's not out of the realm of possibility. And even then, I don't think he'd stop because
No,
at least if you got the Euro League, the World Cup ain't that far off, and neither is a gold medal. So
true.
I don't know if he stops, but he's got a good shot. You and Brazil, well, not you, but oh yeah, you personally and your country have been going at it with Brazil since the formation of the World Cup. It ain't changed, and
Hmm.
you see your boy or your rival Neymar, and you finally get a win over him, even though I'm not gonna say it's tainted because now they old, but this one is like they're not in their primes like they would be 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But this had to be big for Messi because Messi has been chasing Copa America for since he was able to get in,
Yep.
and
Yep.
your country's kryptonite has been Brazil, and now you got to win over that in the most important game. I see a lot of momentum going for them, and I'm not changing that because you got Messi, and we all know Messi's skill is awesome in the World Cup and in the Olympics. I don't see why they can't get to the gold medal stage.
True. And the difference too is, and something that I didn't mention before either, is that the people that was in his way. You think about the level of talent that we've seen over the last 20 years, and what Messi had to come into, because with him and Cristiano Ronaldo coming in around the same time, they're at an era now where it's like you're on the cusp or like the tail end of the guys that we grew up watching. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You were the young dude then. You were the up and coming rising star at that point, So now with those other guys retired, it's like you're older, but you have that shot to do something because essentially it was these dudes standing in your way. Guys like Kaká, who's retired now from Brazil, Ronaldinho, who was a former teammate of his as
Man, that
well,
man, that was
professionally.
a bad man.
Right. So here's the thing. You got these dudes like on the same team or who would play in the same league as you. So you see them throughout the year or even side by side. Now it's time to represent your country. And you're like, man, it's like, what can I do? Because they're on a different level than him at that time. The way he is
Right.
now, where he's peaking, he wasn't there 10 years ago. He was a damn good player 10 years ago,
Very
but
good
he
player.
wasn't peaking yet. He was still ascending. He wasn't there like he is now. You know what I'm saying? So when you had those other guys in the mix, he just had to take a back seat to that, unfortunately, because on the talent level, they already had done it. They already been there for a minute. That was their spot. And when they stepped away, that opened up so much more
That
for
was
him.
you.
That was
Yeah.
his time. Yeah. And it sucks because when it happened, of course, he's like 29, 30 years old. But it's like you kept in enough shape and had enough legs to still do it at the same level that you did when you were 22, 23, which in soccer is not easy to do. Cats be like 30 years old, like, I'm done. I am done.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't have these guys still trying to play till they're 40 unless they feel like they can or can still keep up. And most times because they do, it's because they've had a lesser amount of injury or they've
Yeah.
been in such top good shape or taking care of their body like Ronaldo does right now. They
Yeah.
discovered how to
Yeah.
extend that lifetime, or that lifeline of being an athlete on this type of circuit. So, it's the time to strike now, man. I am pulling for him. I hope that he does it. I really do. I would love
Yeah.
to see the U.S. do something, but this one of cats we've been following for a very, very long
I
time in the sport.
speaking of the US, I just want them to just have a good showing. I don't care if they
Yeah,
win. I
for
just
sure.
want them to have a good showing. But because you mentioned them tonight at 8:30, I believe,
Hmm.
they are hosting Haiti in the CONCACAF Gold Cup.
Okay.
And they are a 2.5 goal favorite. This will be the chance. You got the world stage right there. You got the national
That's
stage,
true.
and if Messi and them are watching, they're going to be on the lookout for the U.S. because, like I said, the U.S. has been on a tear and they have not let up.
True. And, speaking of which, man, because you had mentioned Haiti, thoughts and prayers go out to the country. I know they're dealing with that assassination of their president that happened within the last week, and that is
Yeah,
not something that's hard. That's not something that's easy to deal with. And they said that probably was some officials involved, and it's just not looking too great. And I don't want to spend too much time on that, but at the same time, man, since you had mentioned them, I was like, well, let me throw something out there real quick. And with the U.S. come in, they got some other stuff happening behind the scenes, and it's like, I'm gonna pull back from the politics, but at the same time, man, I just want to throw it out there, and hope they get this win. I'll
amen.
say
Yeah,
that
because
much.
our thoughts and prayers are with them.
True.
This is something. Excuse me.
Bless you.
This is something that would give the people a little ray of sunshine in a screwed up situation. So
For sure, man.
let's hope it's a good match tonight.
Hmm.
All right, moving on from soccer, we're gonna touch some NCAA football. I know it's early, but I came across my yearly magazine read, and it was some interesting things going on in the magazine. And one of them I wanted to touch on was, is there a power struggle now that the transfer portal is in college football?
Man, listen. When it comes to the transfer and how they're doing that, and how all these new rules are, and cats being allowed to transfer and play like the same. Listen, man, I felt like, of course, we had talked a little bit about this like a month or so ago on the show as well too, what that impact could mean. At the same time, I'm like, I can't say that I saw it coming now. I thought eventually, like another year or two, but seeing it now and then also seeing it the same year that players are getting these contracts and getting
Hmm.
these deals or whatever to be paid, like that could change the whole game. That could take it to another level. Because you could say, okay, what if a player, right? And I'm just going to throw a random scenario out here, no actual people, but picture this, Mel. Picture a situation where you have a player come out of high school, right? Well, let's say he's in his freshman year, or whatever. We know he's starting, on the team the next season. Some random company who we may or may not have heard of strikes some kind of six-figure deal with him, and they say, okay, you're out there, you'll wear, I don't know, our insignia on the back of the helmet, you'll wear a patch or some socks or something on your spat, whatever. I don't know representation wise how they're going to do this. This is something new to
Right.
all of us, right? So you have that, and the university might have some rules against like what they may or may not have on the uniform, but it could be some loopholes there. Anyway, this happens. Next thing you know, you got a dude who's playing for, let's say, Texas. I don't know. But then they go, okay, well, if you transfer, and let's say you go to Oklahoma next year, we'll give you $1 million contract instead of a 6 figure. So then
That
we
I would
mix
go
in
with
like
that.
an incentive. You see what I'm saying? Because we talk about power struggle. How do you make it lucrative for the player who may potentially be on their way to the next level if they get there? But at the same time, like, well, I can go to college now, be on scholarship, and make money off of these contracts, whether I go to the league or not. But they
And I'd be
see
straight.
potential there, and I'll be good to go. I can stack them ducats up for them 3 years I play or whatever long I play in there, and have myself set up after school. You have no debt because you got
Man,
scholarship, and now you have millions of dollars in your pocket, and you ain't even pro.
man.
This is a different. This is a whole. My mind is like blown because it's like it's a whole different ball game. Because I know what I would do right now if I was in that situation, having no guarantee to go to NFL, and I could still have like a few mil by the time I'm done with school and not owe no money back because I was on scholarship as an athlete. Man, come on, man. Oh my gosh, I'll go play for Maine, bro. I'll go play for you know the Spiders or go play for like some random school I would never even think about going to
Right.
play football if they give me a crazy deal like that. Because guess what? I'm gonna have my degree paid for. I'm gonna set myself up, be able to get whatever I need to get to start my life right. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the year, I mean, so what? If I feel like I'm good enough, I train. I go to a combine or something, be an undrafted practice squad dude, whatever. But I still got money in my pocket. My family gonna be good starting out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, man. So yes, to answer your question, potentially yes, there could be a power struggle. I don't know at what level yet, because we're always hearing about these random schools, random players. Some from OSU that were in the news, some from like various other schools have been taking these deals so far during the off season, getting ready for the season to start next month, and seeing what that looks like. And potentially it could get there, man, depending on how many companies get involved. Because I haven't seen anything really huge yet. So like I'm still waiting on to hear like, okay, so and so signed an Adidas deal, so and so signed a rock Reebok or Nike or a
Yeah.
N1
I was waiting on
something.
that too.
We haven't seen that yet. And
But it's
is this
coming.
something that we're going
It's coming.
right, it's coming. It's definitely coming. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that there could be a potential clause in some of the contracts that some of these bigger companies have with the schools with certain conferences? And what I mean by
I
that is, okay,
honestly,
you got Nike providing a lot of these jerseys, right? Some schools got
mhm,
Jordan brands, some got Adidas, whatever. There maybe is a conflict of interest for some of them to go, okay, well, you play at a school that has Nike stuff, so we're not going to give you a Nike contract, obviously. But let's say you're not with them. Let's say, okay, you the Nike dude, but when you walk around campus or you're doing something else and you don't have your jersey on, we want you to wear Under Armour or something else, some other kind of affiliate, whatever. I don't know how it works yet because it's new. But to my
Yeah.
question though, do you see that kind of happening too, where they jump in, there's some kind of bumping with, you know, conflict there in terms of like who they can and can't sign with because of who the school is affiliated with, or
You know
it's
what?
so raw
Since you
right
brought it
now,
up,
man. It's just raw.
since you brought it up, I do see that happening. I do see it happening because, you know, it's not only is it, I'm not going to say it's too much money out there. I'm
Hmm.
going to say it's too many opportunities out there to
Okay.
not to just let it slip away. It's way too many opportunities out there to just say, hey, we can wait till he signs till he goes pro. Now that this is incorporated where players can make their own money,
Right.
it's more of a who do we want to market us? Do you want Chris Olave? Just to throw a name out there, not saying he's with
Hmm.
anybody, but he's a guy that the nation looks at because he is a nationally known player.
True.
ESPN follows him. The Buckeyes have got him broadcasted. He was Justin Fields' biggest receiver. You
Hmm.
know, it's a matter of who do we want to market us, and I think that this will be that time where it turns into how do we how do we find the right person to market us. So I do think that will be a possibility.
Okay.
I
Yeah, man.
do think
Because
that is a
for me,
possibility. I can see it coming.
yeah, because that hit me as soon as you were talking about the power struggle. I'm like, man, I got like eight different things flowing through my head right now because it's like it's so much bigger than we know, not bigger than we see, but it's something brewing. I feel like there's something brewing, or for those of you that are, getting into like different types of businesses related to like sports marketing and various things like that, it could be like some random energy drinks we don't even know exist yet that's up and coming. It could be some new gear we haven't seen yet that's going to be marketed by certain players that hasn't hit the stores yet, but they the first ones to be out there running around with it. So there's a lot of that I feel like going around, or some things that we don't know that's down the pipeline. So for me, man, like I'm excited for these guys. I wish I had it when I was balling. Obviously, I know you probably wish you had something like that. At the same time, though, um, it's a great opportunity to finally see this happen. And with that, I'm hoping that they get exactly what they're due. And I also hope that for us gamers, that is the return of the NCAA football franchise as well too, because I could definitely use a new one of those in my system. Just saying. So there's that too. But another point that I was going to look at too was, I know that players are allowed to make money off of their likeness, and you have coaches who are now talking about their kind of contracts, what they got going on for school and whatnot. And I kind of wonder what happens with that too. Like if there's a clause or something in there where they're going to allow for coaches to kind of jump in, or for anybody else, personnel wise. So just a lot of different things are going through my head with that, man.
You know what? I agree, and I'm just gonna say I think it's a big opportunity for the players, but something tells me you already know the NC2A gonna find a loophole to get something done. Make it
Hmm.
so this it's not a they're gonna make it so it's not a big blow up or influx of stuff happening. I already see that
Right.
coming, but I do think that it will be an opportunity where players can market and make some decent money.
Now, and I'm gonna do one last thing with this one too, because it's the last thought I got. So, being how the NCAA clearinghouse works, right, and talks
Hmm.
about like how we weren't allowed to take like different types of donations. You have boosters that were may have been involved, or whatever, alumni or whoever else trying to push players or give them some kind of extra incentives, gifts, things like that that we weren't allowed to accept.
Of course.
Does that change? Are you still gonna be like, okay, well, players can make money off their likeness or whatever? Okay, cool. So you figure if I got a bobblehead in the bookstore or something else around campus, okay, I'm gonna see a cut of that. But now, what about so and so, Worthington something? I don't know, some big old school money name that's been funding the program for however long, and they want to slide me some ducats on the side. Like they're gonna change that rule? Because I haven't heard anything about that, and I don't know how you keep the cap on that if they're allowed to make money now. It's almost like, did you throw that rule out too? Are you going to allow that kind of boosting to happen now, so they can actually collect money from an actual, vendor or whoever else chooses to? Because I have heard nothing about
I
that
haven't
rule.
heard anything about that either. So what I'm gonna say is, if I'm just because off the GP historically,
Yeah,
if I'm a player, a booster better not come nowhere near me. Booster better not come nowhere near me because I can make my own money now.
that's true too. Because I think that was the incentive before. Was like, okay, well, you getting like $10,000 or whatever was huge because it was like you wasn't getting anything, and then now you got cats getting like six-figure contracts and $1 million contracts, whatever. And it's like, well, your money is not on that level. You know what I'm saying? Unless you at some old Ivy League school where there's cats out there actually can write that check.
Yeah,
Um, just putting that out there too. You know what I'm saying? Because if I go to Columbia or if I go to Dartmouth or something, who
Cornell.
Cornell and Harvard, all them, and we don't hear a whole lot about them football wise until someone's drafted. But then there's cats out there that got that kind of money that's been
Right.
alumni forever, CEO of whatever, or some Goldman Sachs dude or something. I don't know. But yeah, man, I hear what you're saying. I mean, that makes perfect sense to be like, well, your money ain't gonna do much for me if it's on some low level something. Like, don't come to me with that. I can get my own deal. But yeah,
Right.
it's just kind of it gives players options, man.
It
You
does.
know,
And I like that. I like that. And I know people are like, why would you do that? They're student athletes. Yeah, they are. But here's the thing. When you're a student athlete at a big time school and you're playing a sport that is a popular American sport, it's bringing in
hmm
billions of dollars a year. And nobody but the NCAA and coaches are seeing money, and the schools are seeing money off of that. That's not fair.
it's not
I,
fair.
I know there are going to be those NCAA lobbyists like, "Hey, you can't say that." I've been a college player, and I've been in a situation where I've had to struggle, and I don't know where my next meal coming from.
hmm
You know, you have too. You've been a player. You know, you had to make a decision where you had to stop playing, and it's guys and it's players, not just football. It's players across the board
Yep.
in every collegiate sport that have had to make that decision because you can't live off of whatever scholarship money you're getting. Most times, the scholarship money you getting, you got to buy food, you got to get your transportation to and from class, you got to pay rent or your half of the rent.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly,
and
man.
you're asking me as a collegiate athlete, you're asking me to one, keep my mouth shut and not complain because I'm on scholarship. Two, you're telling me that I can't have a job. It's literally in the NCAA rule book. You cannot have a job. So you're telling me I can't sit here and make more money. I can't have a job. I
hmm
can only be a student and an athlete. Meanwhile, there are people that I walk past every day with my jersey on. I see them at game day. They're high fiving me when I come out the tunnel. They're wearing my jersey throughout the course of a week, and I can't get paid off of that. And you expect me to struggle? No, that's not fair. It's not fair, and it's not right.
And here's one for you. And this is a tweet that Joe Burrow had at the beginning of the month talking about it. And I quote, exciting time for college athletes. Most excited for non-scholarship athletes. This is the one that hit me, man. Most excited for non-scholarship athletes who may have been working jobs outside of sports to make ends meet. Free meals, sponsors posts, signings will make their lives a lot easier. Long overdue. That is the rawest, biggest facts because that's
Hmm.
essentially what happened, man. I was out there like, okay, I'm not being scholarship. I'm working some third shift job, right, at UPS. I
And then I
gotta
got to be up
somehow
at
come
8 in
back,
the morning to make
change
it to
8 in the morning,
class.
make it to class. I got, conditioning at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning before that, twice a week in the off season. Like it was horrible. And I was like, look, my body's gonna give out because even though I'm
I'm
young,
tired.
I'm tired. And I'm out here tossing these boxes on and off this truck. I got, practice or whatever throughout the day, whether it's a conditioning early, then class,
Hmm.
then there's like a weightlifting session,
Man,
more
what?
class, dinner, and then an evening practice. And I get what, 4 hours rest before I have to go into work again?
Man, no, that ain't good.
No, absolutely not.
That ain't good
You
at
know what I'm
all.
saying? I was like, oh, I gotta make a decision, man. And unfortunately, you gotta do what I had to do. But if I had that set up right there, somebody was paying my rent, somebody was giving me meals, man, or I had some kind of deal where I could even send some money back home. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like it's cats that come to school. I seen cats so poor, man, show up off the bus, bro, with the clothes on their back, man. And the majority of the clothes they got to wear is university, clothes that
University
represent the
apparel.
school. Right, bro. Like it's real out here,
So,
man. People don't understand
yeah,
the grind. So when y'all here talking about these players, talking about how good they got it and all this money they getting and stuff
it's
like
not what
that,
you think.
it
It's
ain't what
not
you
what you
think. You don't
think.
know what their struggle was, man, what they went through. You have no idea what
Hmm.
they had to grind to do to get there or where they came from before, which is why when you see them spin the way that they do, they don't know no better because they didn't have any better. They didn't have
Right.
that stuff, man. They don't know how to invest in the hold on to that because they ain't have nothing. They're like, I'm gonna live this life the
Exactly.
way I want to live it because I ain't had it before. You can even rub
Exactly.
two pennies together. You 17 years old working a job to help out your single mom and your other 5 or 6 siblings. Man,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be on all day talking about that. I'm gonna let that go. But
man.
still, man, it's just like they don't understand the struggle, man. So I don't want to hear
And
nobody ever talk about that, man. And not to me at least.
not, yeah,
I
I
got no.
agree. I
I'm
agree because
biased as hell with that.
I am too. I was there, you was
Sorry,
there. So it doesn't
seen it.
it doesn't click to people until they've actually been in that situation. So
Nope.
we'll see what happens when the season starts in a month.
Exactly, man. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for
Now, I know this is your thing, but
it. Oh, I got something to say.
I know this. I know. We all saw the fight last night. Conor McGregor
Mm,
takes an L to
mm,
Poirier and TKO in the
mm,
first round. Is
mm.
it time? First off, here's the first question. The first question is it time? Is it time for McGregor to hang it up? That's the first
Mm,
question. The second question
mm.
is if it's not time for him to bounce back, do you think he pulls the lead out of his ass and gets serious again? Because these last couple fights ain't been serious for him. To me, these last couple fights haven't been serious, and I don't think he's been right upstairs. So does
No,
he? Is it time for him to hang it up, or does he bounce back with his next fight if he fights again?
for me, I'll say this: if it wasn't the type of injury that he had, I would say that he definitely should come back. Try it again. I think he needs to let the whole Poirier thing go, though. I feel like the way that fight was going, not even sure
Mm-hmm.
if he would have won it if he hadn't got hurt. Because like you said, it was like it wasn't taken serious enough. He out there barking and doing all the other crap, trying to hype himself up and end up getting psyched. And then, he was kicking dudes so hard. And Poirier even said it after the fight. He was like, I think he was kicking me so hard. And I will tell you, those kicks were hard. But at least I could feel something after I got kicked with one of those last kicks. I could tell something was different. And he just kind of shook it off. But he said he may have fractured his leg or the ankle at that point when he kicked him, and then
Hmm.
tried to go for a little shimmy or try to back up, and that's when you saw the foot to the side. I'm like, ugh. But the thing is, man, I think for him, he hasn't been the same since he started doing these little exhibitions and that little bout that he had, just to play around with Mayweather for a little bit. Like, he ain't been
That
right
was a
ever since,
paycheck.
man. That was
That
all
was a
paycheck,
paycheck.
and that just like
Not that he
opened up the
needed it.
doors. Yeah, I mean, he didn't need that. And then what that did was he opened it up for like the Paul brothers to be doing that crap and, dancing around with
Don't get me
people and
started
trying
on
to
them
take all these.
dudes.
Oh, man, it's just ridiculous. And the fact that, this is Ohio cats we talking about too, man, it's had me feeling weird anyway. I was like, dang, man, y'all can't be local, man. But anyway, off of that high horse, my thing is this. With Conor McGregor, I feel like because he hasn't taken it serious in the last like 5 or 6 years, he
Hmm.
made that major deal I told you about a few months back where he sold his, was it his vodka company or something like
I
that, where
believe
he
it
made
was a
like,
company.
it was like crazy amount of money he had made off of it. I want to say it was like 600 mil or 500 mil or something crazy. And I'm looking like the money you just made off of your fight with Mayweather, and then also you selling that liquor and stuff that you had going on. You set up pretty good, man.
Yeah,
You
well,
halfway to a
damn good.
billion dollars. Like, the kind of money you're making is off of business decisions. The amount that you make in the UFC could never match what you're going to end up getting from these other things that you're doing. So I feel
Right.
like from a business perspective, definitely should hang it up because he's not going to make the same amount of money doing MMA ever again. That's just not going to happen.
Hmm.
Secondly, it's like if
Especially
you
after
keep
this loss.
right, and then you lost what the last 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 or something like that. Like, you on a decline anyway according to their standards. I'm surprised you even got a
Yeah.
contract still. So there's that. And I think part of it's just because of the draw that he brings in terms of like the viewership, his fans that come to show up and all that kind of stuff. It's more so for that. So I feel like with that, man, he should just be done with it. Do something else, do some coaching, do some training, be with that beautiful family you got, invest that money, man, because you got plenty of it you're sitting on. You don't even need these checks that you're trying to get from the UFC because it's not enough to pay someone on your level now. So
Not
just
even
let that
close.
go. Right, man. Like, let that go. You know what I mean? Or reinvest, man. Buy into it. Be a
Yeah.
part owner of Bellator or something. Do something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
That-
I'm gonna point this out a little bit later. We talk about NFL stuff too, because I saw someone else do a similar deal. That's a current NFL player. I'll talk about that later. But do something like that, man. Just think about your life in the future. Like, you're in your mid 30s now. You gotta do something different, man. This game is gonna
yeah.
leave you
Yeah.
anyway.
You're
So I
right.
think he should be
You're
done
right.
with it. I think he should be done with it.
You're
Be a
right.
coach or something. Like, just it
It do-
ain't
and
worth
it
it, man.
Yeah, it's not, and it don't hurt. It don't hurt. It don't hurt to say, you know what, it's time to hang it up.
Right. You
It
got a
don't hurt
broke
at all.
leg. Like, you've had to come back from something the last
Yeah.
few times. And now you got a
Yeah.
serious injury like this, you're not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So
And,
let's be
and
done.
speaking of that, speaking of being the same, the quick update: NBA Finals Game 3 in Milwaukee. Suns are behind on the Bucks, 38-42. Bucks are leading. Uh, Truthfully, I got the Suns in this one. I got the
Hmm.
Suns taking it, winning their first title ever. You look at these first two games, it's almost like the Suns have ran the Bucks off the court. I don't know if that's really the case, but looking at these games, the Bucks just look like they're not fast enough to keep up with the speed of the Suns.
True. True. That
So
small game is working for them, man, for sure. And
yeah,
the way it looks now, like, anytime that Giannis isn't in or he doesn't play, they just take advantage each and every time. I mean, this is a series where that dude gonna have to play like all the minutes of
hmm
every game for them to even have a shot. And it's sad to say that because they've done okay in terms of getting some well-rounded people with him. I'm not saying they're
yeah,
top
but
talent, but it's
but
like,
having well-rounded people in a situation where the entire team you're facing is faster than you need them to be, that's causing a
Yeah,
problem.
it's a big problem, man. It sucks actually. I mean, and you got someone up and coming like Devin Booker and him
Man,
learning
boy,
behind Chris Paul. I was like,
boy, every time
those
that boy just shot a
situations.
3-pointer, that motherfucker done went in. So
Look, man, he on one. It and it's funny because I remember talking about this months back where we were like, well, what does the NBA look like after LeBron leaves? And for
it's
me, I
looking
was
like
like,
small
I
man.
don't know. It's looking like small man group, right? And
It's
Devin
looking
Booker
like.
leading the way right now. That dude, he's evolved.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Really
it, it's
quick.
looking it's looking like small ball, and that I personally think that that's not a bad thing because
No.
this is the time where the three ball is more prevalent than having a
Hmm.
center who can keep you out the post, who can block. And looking at game one and game two, it was like, okay, you know, let's see how this small ball looks in the thick of a championship. And yes, the Bucks have kept it competitive,
Hmm.
but they've been playing from behind, and that causes a problem in basketball because yeah, you can cut a lead down, but you don't want to have to keep playing from behind all the time.
True.
And these first two games, the Bucks have been playing from behind. Giannis looks gassed.
Yeah, man.
He
Yeah.
looks
I mean,
gassed. I'm not saying he's tired, but like the spurts where the Suns have went on a run, he
mhm.
looks like, where the fuck y'all at, man? Yeah, he's looking for help, and it's not there.
Can't get it, man. And the thing is about him, like you figure this late in the season, and now you're in the postseason, and you having to play all these long minutes, like it's just wearing him
It's
down.
yeah,
He can be in
and
the best shape of his life and the youngest he want to be, but
I
he
think
feeling
that's
it.
what I think that's what the Suns were aiming for. I honestly do.
Oh yeah,
I know that
run him
sounds
ragged.
crazy. Yeah, because nobody else is gonna help him, and
No, they're not.
if they do, it's gonna be maybe one other person because they have great role players, but the defense has been getting gassed when there's a fast break. And I think that that's where the problem for Giannis lies in because now you got Giannis playing offense and defense, which he can do, but you have him doing it in such spurts where the game ain't slowed down. The game only
Hmm.
slows down when the Bucks have the ball. If you notice, in game one and game two, when the Bucks have the ball, that's when the game slows down. But when the Suns have the ball, it's a lot of motion, a lot of pick and roll, and a lot of you know fast paced drive the lane, kick out. And for those that don't know what that means, the point guard is usually driving the lane, trying to make a quick pass to a 3-point shooter,
Right.
and it's worked. It's worked. I think the Bucks may take game three. That it's looking like it might be a okay. We see what they're doing now. Now we can adjust to it. But at the point where you're 2 games down, that should have been an adjustment you made long time ago.
Very
Like
true.
game one should have been all right. We got to sit down and figure this out. But
Yep.
as of right now, with 3:24 left, the Suns are behind, and it's 50-42 Milwaukee. But that could change before the game ends. So we'll
True.
keep you guys updated for as long as we're on the air. But um, as of right now, Giannis. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right. All right. Giannis is not on the court right now, so
Hmm.
I think everybody's got subs in. Booker is on. Booker's got 7 points right now. Aiton has 16, and you know, I think I think they might turn it on in the second half, but we'll see. We'll see.
Man. be interested to see how this turns out.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All right. With that being said, our last topic of the night is the NFL. Last time we covered the NFC East and the South, I believe. So now we're gonna take a stab at the AFC West. Was it?
hmm
Yeah, the AFC West
Oh,
and
AFC
the
South, my
NFC
bad.
AFC South. Okay, the AFC South and the NFC West. That's what it was. So
hmm
we're gonna start in the AFC South, and right about now, everybody's wondering, what's going on in Houston because it's a complete shitstorm down there,
Man,
and who's going to take over if Tennessee does not bounce back? Honestly, I believe Tennessee is going to bounce back. I have them picked to win the South again,
hmm
but Indianapolis is looking like they tired of fucking they tired of Derrick Henry. They're tired of fucking with him.
hmm
And I believe that this would be the opportunity that they're looking for with Houston being out of the picture as of right
Yep.
now because Deshaun Watson wanted out. He got into a bunch of shit that may or may not be true. Um, I think this is a two-team race, honestly.
hmm
I think this is Tennessee and I think this is Indianapolis. I know everybody's hyped up on Jacksonville with the surf bum.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, the surf bum Trevor Lawrence. He's not a surf bum. It's just what I call him because he got long hair.
Ronnie
But
Bass.
yeah, yeah, big Ronnie Bass from Remember the Titans. But regardless of the fact, Jacksonville defensively does not have enough to keep up with
Uh,
Tennessee or Indianapolis. So I give Jacksonville third place just because it's an automatic. We got to put Houston at the bottom because when the season starts, uh, Deshaun Watson may not be there, and Deshaun Watson is a big key for them. They've already
hmm
lost J.J. Watt. They've already lost DeAndre Hopkins. They're almost in rebuild mode. So if I know it's Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer pulls rabbits out of his hat more often than not, but Trevor Lawrence has got a lot of learning to do. The
True.
defense isn't there. I'm not saying they're gonna play from behind, but there's gonna be a lot of tough games for them this season, and we won't know what Trevor Lawrence is really gonna look like probably until mid-season.
True. I agree with that. And something else looking at this schedule as well for them is that you know with the AFC South and the way it's set up because of the Texans situation, what that did for me is I felt like it gave Jacksonville maybe third place now.
Mm-hmm.
Without Deshaun Watson, it just looks crazy. They're going to be very run heavy. I know they've signed Mark Ingram to run
But
the
he's
ball with
old.
them, but he's older.
But
He's like
he's
a
old.
10-year, 11-year vet.
Yeah.
He'll be 32 in December. Like he got a lot going on, and it's just different. Now with them, because of Houston, that's why I put the Jacksonville Jaguars in third place for the division. Like you said, it's a two-team race between the Titans and the Colts, and I think the difference with them is I had put the Titans to be able to win the division, but I only have them up by one game. I feel like both teams end up going to the playoffs again. The difference maker, though, is with the schedule, the Colts have to play the Ravens and the Buccaneers in their schedule. Now, with
Mm.
the Titans, they see neither team. And I was like, oh, so y'all just not going to play the Ravens or the Bucks in this season? Like you won't see them until the playoffs, possibly?
Now
That's
that
not
you
fair.
say that, now
That's
that you
messed
say
up.
that, now,
That's
but to
messed
be
up.
fair, the Ravens have seen the Titans in the regular season 2 out of the last 3 years. Okay,
hmm
let's make that a point. If memory serves me right and I've done the research correctly, 2 out of the last 3 years, or at least 1 out of the last 3 years,
Oh yeah, no, last year for sure, because
Yeah,
that was the whole AFC. It was the AFC South, AFC North battle,
exactly.
and
So
that
you
was
saw the
when
Ravens.
we saw the Ravens
Yeah.
and Steelers and Browns and everybody played them last year, both teams, and that's what made it so
So
competitive during the season. Because like all these potential playoff teams just mixing in and playing each
so
other like
yeah.
four
So
times, like that was
so
crazy.
so what I'm getting at with that is there is a a room, a margin for error that they have
Hmm.
that's so big now that you don't see Baltimore, who you lost to. You saw them twice.
True.
You saw them twice. You saw them once. You got a dub in overtime, and then you saw them in the playoffs, and they gave you your issue. You know, not a real big issue, but you know, you took that L and you got bounced out the playoffs and the wild card.
Hmm.
So, to be fair, Tennessee has had their work cut out for them when it comes to Baltimore. So I'm not gonna say that that's messed up because you saw them last year for sure, and you saw them twice. Now, with the extended playoff, that's the only reason you saw them. I don't think you would have saw them and probably at least until you found out between the Browns and the Steelers who you were going to see.
Hmm.
Uh, the Tampa Bay thing, I have no answer for. I have no response for. But I think I think Tennessee has a very good chance. Like we said, we already picked them to win the division, but
Hmm.
the schedule that they have is not easy.
Oh no, it's not.
It's not. You got to go to Seattle. Then you got an early divisional test week 3 against Indianapolis, who's you
Away
matched
game at that.
records. Yeah, no, that's a home game. The first one's a home game.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, home game for the Titans. My bad.
Yeah, these last 3 years, these games with Indianapolis have not been easy, but you squeak
Hmm.
one or two out of and then you get two give me's with the Jets and the Jags until you see Buffalo, which is week 6.
Hmm.
Then you
And
got to
then you
go.
see the
Then you
Chiefs.
Yeah. Then you see the Chiefs. But luckily for Tennessee, both of these games are at home.
True.
That saves them. But after that, you still got it's not a shitty schedule, but you got a shit end of the schedule when after you see Buffalo and the Chiefs, you got to go to Indy, you got to go to
Hmm.
LA to play the Rams, and you got the Saints. Not to mention before your bye week, you got New England, and that's never an easy game. And you're going to New England.
Yep. You gotta go to New England, and when they play Pittsburgh, is at Pittsburgh, and you
Uh,
figure if you're in a stadium full capacity, a
yeah,
lot harder to win there full capacity. They've
yeah.
already talked about doing that for the teams this year. So,
hmm Cleveland,
you
Cleveland is
know,
full capacity this year, if I'm not mistaken.
that's different. Yeah, man, it's gonna be different. So I was like, you got to go there and play full
So,
capacity. Mm.
so to be fair, I don't think that this schedule gives them any leeway outside of the gimme games against the Jets and the Jags and maybe
Right,
Houston,
right.
depending on what Houston's situation looks like. Uh, every game they have is winnable. You got Derrick Henry, the space age robot on your team, so you're not out of games. But when you look at the body of work that they have to have in order to win the division, taking this first game against Indianapolis is a must. It's a must win.
You
And,
have to,
and,
yeah.
and the first 3 games are must wins. But as far as the AFC playoff picture is concerned, you want that first game against Indianapolis because if you lose that game against Indianapolis, you're going to be chasing them the rest of the season. That's
Hmm.
just that's just how I feel about it. You may feel different. You may agree, but we can both agree as players, you do not want to chase a team in your division that is just as good as you.
Right. And you figure seeing them week 3 is like, oh man, we gotta get after it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get after it. And the thing is, like, with these two teams, we know that they're capable of like pulling something out of their hat. You know, the difference maker with the Titans now having um, Julio Jones out there opposite of AJ Brown. That's going to be exciting. I wonder, will they throw the ball more, or will that just
I
open up an opportunity for a lot more of like what we're seeing in Cleveland? You know, where you got a guy who can obviously run the ball crazy, right? You got the blocking, okay, but it makes your play action that much more dangerous because you have Julio and AJ Brown opposite each other now. And Tannehill's one of those guys where, okay, you don't expect him to be like spectacular or anything, but he's smart.
right.
And when they're open, they're open. And he gets the ball there. We've seen that these last couple seasons. Difference maker for sure. Now, defensively, Colts have that edge, but at the same time, we got to be able to score these points, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm looking the same way as you, man. Week 3 gonna say a lot. Week 3
Yeah, it
will
is.
say a lot, and it's gonna be a 1 game difference. Really, a
Yes, it
one
is.
game difference, and that could
And
be the
only
difference maker right there.
if it's a 2 game difference, that would mean that either Tennessee or Indianapolis got the sweep, which isn't likely to happen.
No, I got them
It
splitting. Yeah,
Yeah, I
both of
got
them
them
splitting.
splitting it. I got them splitting it too. But in the event, we still got to be biased and throw it out there. There is a possibility that
Mm-hmm.
you know there could be a sweep,
True.
but just keep in mind, folks, that when these two meet up,
Mm-hmm.
there's not going to be a lot of points scored. It's a 30-point game to me. So be wary of the fact that Derrick Henry is the difference, Julio Jones is the difference,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that the intangible will be uh to me will be more or less Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah,
Is
for
he
sure,
going to
man.
be a good decision maker with the ball? That's my only question.
There's that. There's is he gonna be a good decision maker with the ball? And the difference was now the Colts have Carson Wentz. We don't have the same QB we had last year.
But I, I
It's
I'm
kind of
not
like
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not counting him in as a factor because
I'm not
the
either.
Colts. The reason I'm saying that is because the Colts defense by itself is good enough to keep the team in the game.
And both
They
backs are
have a
healthy
good.
this year.
That's what I was where I was getting at too. They have
Mm,
the run ability,
mm.
and both backs are good pass catchers as well. People don't pay attention to that part.
And they're both starters. You
Yes, they're
know,
both
it's
starters.
the thing is, it's not because it's crazy because with those two backs, it's a similar situation to what Cleveland has where those two backs, man, could start on any team,
Hmm.
you know, and to have them both back there healthy, it's like, oh crap,
Yeah,
what we gonna do?
it's gonna be issues. It's gonna be
You know,
issues.
and he didn't have that last year. Their featured back got hurt. He was out the whole season, right?
Now you
Here
got
comes the
two.
other guy. Now you got both of them. Oh man, you got something to worry about now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm
and
I'm I'm excited.
if you're the Titans defense, you got to make sure that that's a key component of how you play defense against the Titans because
Hmm.
you got Julio, you got Brown. Now you got two pass catching running backs who can run and catch out of the backfield. Your defense got his work cut out for you.
Yep, for sure. And while we're talking about the AFC South, you know, this is what I mentioned earlier about Mark Ingram. So with him, the cool thing about it is, you know, we know he's older. We know he's probably going to be on his way out soon. But before he went and signed with Houston, the presence that he had in Baltimore, what he did during those 2 years was he built a relationship with some of the other teams. And in doing so, something that happened about a month ago was that he became part of the ownership group for DC United.
Mm,
So with that, what he did was he said, okay, I'm going to invest in this team to potentially set me and my family up to have something going on after football, which was really smart to do because he just came off of one of his biggest contracts, right?
hmm
After his trade and being with Baltimore for a couple of years, that money
Yep.
he got from, New Orleans or whatever. So he was set up pretty nice and said, okay, while I'm here, let me establish some new relationships with people. And essentially, he built a really good one with the DC soccer team.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to see what he does with that, with the upcoming season afterwards or whatever, if he chooses to stay or how that goes. But that's something I wanted to put out there was I'm liking the fact that a lot of these players are starting to invest into different sports that they're now a part of.
Yeah.
Prime example, you got
Yeah.
him. Larry Fitzgerald is part owner of the Phoenix Suns.
I
We're going
did
to talk
not
about
know
that.
that.
Bruh.
I just learned
So,
something new.
so here's the thing with him. He could be possibly getting his first title in a sport that he is not playing at the professional level. Something
That's
different.
new.
And that's what's happening. It's like a wave because you figure, you know, LeBron buying into a team, you got some WNBA players that he helped out buy into a team, and then you got these other guys doing stuff in basketball or soccer and whatever the sports. And it's like, look, let's create this new culture where, okay, maybe they're not necessarily ready to see a full blown black owner yet. Okay, whatever. But we
Yeah,
got to get that foot in the door. You know what I'm saying?
that's that's
And with
that's
the
true.
different sports that's out
That's
there,
true.
right? Because you figure they're doing it in the sport that they don't play, and the things that
Yeah,
they're doing in the sport
and
they're
that's
not
big.
playing. That's real big, man. It's like, okay, this is
And
cool, and like just create something new, man. Something we haven't
and
seen.
it's
This
and
is
it's a
something new.
lot of black players in soccer. It's a lot of black players in basketball. It's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah, man.
It's getting there.
So, but yeah, I didn't want to touch on that real quick and just give him a shout out because, like, we were talking about how he may be going downhill a little bit as a player just because that's just how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, time
But to
time
see
don't
this was
time
like,
don't wait for nobody.
right. To see this was like, oh, okay, cool. You're making that investment now before you retire. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just dope. It's not going to be
I'm
another sportcaster, which nothing's wrong with that, but this is something different we haven't heard of, especially an NFL guy. So,
yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it. Um, from that, because we still got one more division. So from that, we
mhm.
move to the NFC West, and it was a tough division. It's always been a tough division. I'll
Yeah,
say the
man.
last 10 years. Last 10 years, it's been a tough division. Now, the difference between the last 10 years and last year is that with Garoppolo going down, I think that opened up the door for Arizona to step in and put their hat in to say, we not scared of y'all. We can make this work.
Hmm.
Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray showed his ass. He showed he can compete at 5'5". He looking out for the short people, man. I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
But
man.
Seattle still reigned dominant over the division. Los Angeles was right behind them, Arizona, and then at the bottom was San Fran. Garoppolo comes back, and he's coming back healthy. That's the first thing we got to take into consideration because he went down with a bad knee injury.
True.
So Garoppolo comes back. This division, outside of the AFC North, and I'm being honest when I say this, people don't kill me for it. Just look at it how it plays out. This might be the toughest division and the most battle tested division outside of the AFC North we see this season. Russell
I,
Wilson, as far as we know, unless there's some secret deal going on with the KGB, Russell Wilson is still in Seattle. As long as
mhm.
Russell Wilson is still in Seattle, the Seahawks have a chance. The Rams have a new quarterback in Matt Stafford. This creates a lot of controversy, and it's not bad controversy. It's more of how's he going to look in that battle against Russell Wilson. Let's
Yeah,
look at reality. Let's look at
yeah.
reality. Matt Stafford has been cursed. The curse of Bobby Lane is real. I don't care what nobody tell you in outside of Detroit. The curse of Bobby Lane is real. Detroit ain't won a playoff game in God knows how long. It's been 30 years at least. Haven't won a championship in 50, over 50. So Matt Stafford, arguably one of the best quarterbacks of this generation, stuck for well over 10 years in Detroit. Now he's got an offense he can actually lead. He's got a defense that's halfway decent. I'm curious and also excited to see what this battle is going to look like with him and Russell Wilson when season starts.
I'm on the same page with you, man. And since you had said that, it's like you got a guy with a fresh start, fresh team. He's got some blocking now. He's got some guys to throw to. Like, it's going to be different, because you figure essentially with him, ever since Megatron retired, I mean, that was pretty much it. And it's like, what else were you able to do after that? Because your top target gone. He been gone so long. This dude in the Hall of Fame now, about to be like,
right,
bruh. You know what I'm saying? So now you got the season coming up, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna get this fresh start with the Rams. And in this division, like you said, is very competitive. I feel like it's one of the more evenly matched divisions.
Yeah,
that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, because every team's got a good quarterback. Every team in that division's got a good quarterback.
And this could be one of them seasons where, like, you see a division where it's the opposite of what we saw in the NFC East. So last year, the NFC East, and you got a team who's like under 500 going to the playoffs or winning the division. This could be the exact opposite to where
it might be a team that isn't under 500 that don't make it.
My point is
it might be a
9-8 team or 10-win team that can't go. 10-7, 9-8 can't go.
This also, to jump on that, I honestly think that this might be the year that the NFC West sends more than 2 teams to the playoffs with the extended playoffs.
That could be a fact too, and that's the thing, man. You be to have 3 teams pop up out of there this season. Watch what happens, because these teams, man. I'm looking at it now because here's an honest assessment that I did. I'm looking at this, man. I was giving it to Seattle. I had them at like 11-6, right? And then I had both San Francisco and the Rams at 10 wins. And then Arizona, I had them at 9 only because of like what the schedule's looking like, man. They got a lot of tough games.
Yeah, they got a lot of tough games.
They're playing at Dallas, and they got, Cleveland at Cleveland, and, they got to face the Packers if they still have Aaron Rodgers. That's going to make a big difference, obviously. Right?
We still waiting on that, man, and that's the
still
crazy
waiting.
part.
They're going to Chicago later in the season.
You got to see Justin Fields.
Bro, it's just different. So that's the only reason why. I'm not saying that they're not talented. We see what they can do, and they've definitely had some additions in the offseason, but this is one of those divisions where it's going to be so close, 1 or 2 game differences, and it could be the only division that we see where every team is over 500.
And I don't doubt that.
Wow. But I feel like every other, division that we looked at has so many other teams where you had these top 1 or 2 teams that was in double digits, and then everybody else, you're kind of like, okay, maybe this is a 5-win, 6-win team, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But with this division, I don't see that, man. I don't see anybody getting less than 9. Honestly, I really don't. I mean, it's going to be crazy watching the NFC East. I'm going to pay real close attention to them because we already said how excited we were about the AFC North. But NFC East, man, AFC West, excuse me. Definitely check out NFC West, man. If y'all looking at it, like, watch that division close.
Yeah.
For real.
Quick update. Third quarter, 11:06 to play. The Bucks are up 60-47 over the Suns. I guess they might have figured out the small ball. We'll see. We will see. But it's looking like, it's looking like the Bucks might take this one.
And speaking of which,
go ahead.
Because with that, the biggest difference maker was that second quarter. So you figure it was 35-17 second quarter. And when you let something like that happen where your team doubles up your points like that, That just creates a different level of, trying to have that gap be closed again. Because now it's going to depend on you doing the same thing basically in the third quarter, but doing the opposite end. So it's going to be one of those
Right.
situations where Phoenix is going to not have to score like at least 30 points in the third quarter to really make a big difference or a big splash in that and get some stops, man. So, we'll see if they can do it. But like you said, the way it's looking right now, it could be one that they drop. It could be a 2-1 series after the night, you know.
It could be.
And I had Phoenix winning it all. I gave it 6 games, so maybe that still happens. I don't know, but the way it's looking tonight, I don't think a sweep will happen. Man. I don't know about a sweep.
I honestly wasn't shooting for a sweep, but what I did feel like could happen was that uh, I did feel like there could be a 5, maybe 6 game series.
Mm-hmm.
I personally still have it at 5 because I think the speed is going to catch up. I honestly feel
Yeah,
like the speed is going to catch up to. Uh, I feel like the speed is going to catch up, and it's not. It's going to continue to be a problem.
I think so too, man. I feel like you know, it's something that they're going to have a hard time adjusting to. And what people forget about Monty Williams is that here's a guy who not only was a former um, professional player himself, but the teams that he played on had a similar style. Very, very fast, hard hitting, quick, that run and gun type of thing. The difference was the teams that he played for didn't always have guys where the ball was necessarily dropping like that. You know what I'm saying? But to be able to be a guy who played, you know, some time with Orlando and then you had like the Spurs and you think about the different coaches that he played under, right? So he was a player under Doc Rivers. He was a player under Pop. These are guys who have been around forever that we've seen a lot of talent get built up around. And for you to be able to play in those systems with two
Yeah,
different styles of basketball in general, and then for you to come into the game and you to have your hand and your say so in different teams that you've been a part of, because he was an assistant with the 76ers, the Oklahoma
he's
City
got
Thunder, the
he's got a
Pelicans.
lot
He
of
had a head coach
experience.
thing, a lot of experience. Portland, like he even had a little bit of time being assistant with the USA basketball team. People forget about
That
that
too.
too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So he's got a lot of experience at a high level, right? And the thing is, this is your second head coaching job. You was with the Pelicans, now you're doing this. It's like you're not
and
some like dude
that's
trying
a
to
big difference.
exactly big difference. You already have the experience in the West. You played in the West, like you know what's up. You know what I'm saying? So them running this style for me, I was like, well, coach know what he's doing, and the fact that Chris Paul was able to put his trust into Monty Williams like that says a lot too. It's like, yeah, I'm this guy. I've been around for a while myself too, but I'm still listening to my coach. It's the same approach that Kobe had when he had the ability to play with Byron Williams and then have Byron Russell, excuse me, play with him and then be his coach too, you know? And the thing is, potentially or talent wise, we know Kobe was better than Byron Russell, obviously, right? But for
Yeah,
you to
yeah,
be a teammate with him and then to be his coach, later on, like that was huge, man. And the way that he respected him when he could have been like, all right, Byron, okay. You know, it's just a difference in like professionalism, sportsmanship, all of that.
yeah. It
And I'm
is. It
excited, man.
is.
You know,
All
and
right.
when he was, and Monty was
Go ahead.
actually at the, Monty was with the Pelicans when Chris Paul was there too. Another fact.
That is true. So he knows Chris Paul very well.
See,
It
this
all
works, man.
match made in heaven.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Before we end the show, this is a special trivia time. I wanted to hit you with this because uh it was it had to do with what I showed you earlier, which was our annual team book for the season. So
Mhm.
with that, I had to ask, how many times has Collinwood won the Senate City Championship?
Whoa.
Yeah, actually, it's two. I delegated it to three, but as far as championship questions, it's only two.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. I'm like tongue tied right now. I'm like, I have no clue what to say about that one. I'll be honest.
Okay, well, our last city championship was in 2007, and before that, we hadn't won it since 1990. So the answer to that question is five. We have won
I,
five city championships.
man,
According to this book, which was this, 2018, 2018. According to 2018, we've won five city championships. Now, the question after that, this one stomped me, but I thought it was very interesting. Before 1960, who won the most Senate city championships?
before 1960?
Yes, before 1960.
Ugh, dang, man.
I give you a hint. It is a private school that's no longer in the Senate and hasn't been in the Senate since 1960.
Oh, man. Um, oh, that's hard. The Senate. Let's see. The Senate, private school. For some reason, and this could sound really dumb, but that's okay. I want to say Villa Angela, St. Joseph.
You'd be wrong on this one because Villa Angela was never part of the Senate according to the book. But
Ah, dang it.
Cath- Cathedral
Dang it.
Latin, Cathedral Latin before 1960 won 11 Senate city championships from 1931 to 1958.
Man, what?
So if you thought Glenville was a
Wow.
bad boy, Cathedral Latin was kicking everybody's ass. And from
Wow.
1943, and here's an interesting fact that I learned. From 43 to 47, they won five straight.
Dang. Okay.
Now, here's the one that I think you should get. If you don't get all of this right, you should get part of this right. How many private schools were part of the Senate?
Mm, I'm going to say three.
Uh, you'd be close.
Now, what were they? I have no idea. But three
Actually,
sounded good.
you'd be close. You'd be very close. It was four.
Four. Four. What are those? I need to know.
Cathedral Latin, Cathedral
Okay.
Latin, Benedictine,
Benedictine. Okay.
Saint
Learn something new.
Ignatius, Saint Ignatius,
Ignatius. Oh, wow.
yes,
Okay.
and
Okay.
Holy
All right.
Name.
Benedictine
Yeah.
and Saint Ignatius.
hmm
Huh. Okay.
Now,
Okay.
just to be a stickler, I'm gonna throw this one out there.
Wow.
How many
All right.
how many how many Heights schools were part of the Senate? I'll give you a hint. They have a rivalry with each other now. That's right up the street from each other. Right up Lee Road. There's only two schools in the Heights that sit up on Lee Road.
Yeah. Cleveland Heights.
That's one.
Man, Lee Road. Warrensville Heights.
Mm-mm. Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights.
Oh, Shake. Oh, I keep forgetting about Shaker. My gosh, man.
Everybody forgets about
Shaker.
Shaker. Don't worry.
Man, I knew Cleveland Heights for sure. Shaker. Okay, I went too far out. I was going further down. Thinking about
Yeah, Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights were
God,
part of the
Lee.
Senate at one point.
Wow. Okay. Man.
So
Wow.
that actually is going into the surprise we can't unveil just yet. But I figured I throw you a throwback or a send back Sunday because
Man, that's a good one.
yeah we gonna
That's a
have some
real good
fun
one.
this year. We're gonna have some fun this year.
Oh man, I was sitting here like, man, addicted. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
had to do my research. I had to look at this. Like really, they were when from 1931 to about 1962. Cathedral Latin was
That's
part
crazy.
of, and not too long after that, Ignatius left, Holy Name left, Shaker left. Shaker and Cleveland Heights left before. I think it was before the 40s, but they were part of the Senate as well.
Mm, man,
So yeah, history, big history.
that's
But
crazy.
there's some things we are working on. Just to let you guys know, they are in the works. We can't make anything known just yet because these things have to take time. But just know it's a lot of good things that are happening and will continue to happen for us and for the network. We like to thank those people. We can't say their names right now, but we like to thank those people for helping us out and giving us the opportunity. Uh, don't forget to continue to follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, follow, like and subscribe. Follow us here on Facebook. Don't forget to check out our written content on 216sportsnetwork.blogspot.com. Excuse me. And just keep following with us, man. We cover everything: MMA, pro wrestling, football, basketball. We've thrown in some baseball when the Indians look good. I got to get on that too. I got to get on that because the Indians are still in second place. The game got rained out today against the Royals, but they beat the brakes off of them yesterday, 14-6. So and they're still in second place, which is astonishing
Man,
considering all the injuries and the complete gutting of the team.
yeah, man, it's exciting
So
to see because you know how they do. You know, whether
yeah,
it's top notch team or whether it's up and coming, man, the management's always there. They always farm somebody in. Next thing you know, in the next season or two, man, they up there again. It's like,
yep,
it's like a rotating cycle, man. We just
man.
and it's
I
funny
just
because you
wish it,
think as Clevelanders we'd be excited about it, you know,
but you're
but it's
used
like we've
to it.
seen it, we've
You're
used to
used
it.
to it.
It's crazy.
You
Like
so
you're like,
you so used
what?
to it. You immune to it. Like yeah, okay,
Right?
they
It's
got the team, man.
yeah, it's like they like
Puig,
you're almost numb because you're like, up here we go again. They're gonna gut them.
yep.
Take about a year or
Yasiel
two. They're
Puig,
gonna be back on top.
Yasiel Puig gone. Okay, we knew that was coming. Reyes the
Yeah.
only batter. Reyes at one point Reyes was the only batter over 250. Okay, that's no surprise. It's Jim Tomey all over again.
Yep. Here we go. You know, and we'll know they'll be successful again in the next year or two. It's just crazy,
Yep,
man. It's so
yep.
crazy.
But just you guys just keep sticking with us. We're gonna be letting out some news and information. Uh, but I got a chance. Shout out to Chris Landis because Chris Landis and us and the network have been working together on a WMAC Masters book. Now, for those of you that do not know, WMAC Masters was a show that was ahead of its time. A lot of great martial artists and actors were a part of this show who are also movie stars in their own right. And if it wasn't
Mhm.
for them, we wouldn't have most of the movies that we got during the mid 90s, mid to late 90s and early 2000s, and in some cases now. So shout out to Chris for working with us on that. And, we hope that he continues his success in finding the people he needs to find to help his book get to where it needs to be. All
Absolutely.
right, folks. Catch us next week. We got a big surprise for those who like football. Uh, I'm not telling anything. You're just gonna have to catch it on Facebook because that's the only way you're gonna see it. Because I'm not revealing that, man. He told me to keep it hush. You know, and if you are a football fan in any right, this is not a show you want to miss. So catch us next week. We have a great show lined up for y'all. So for 4th and 15, I'm Mel. That's Smooth. Peace.
Peace.